Popping in, and you came through wearing the gear today?
Well, that's all I buy. That's all I wear now. That's all I buy. I come down here every 2 weeks. Every time I hear the drop.
That's perfect. So let me bring you into a bit of the chaos. So currently there are spring things that are over on this side. So like we've got fun flannels on the way. No, it's all good. We're a little cluttered in here.
Oh, nice.
Things together. So check this one out here.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
What?
Good flannel, zip and full zip down the front, fleece innard.
Just coming in XL?
It does. It does. But this is something that, from a manufacturing standpoint, that we can bring to Tacoma. Like, this is high level enough, but not so complicated that we can't produce this in Tacoma. And so that's really
awesome.
Some of the goal for us, because like this is all proprietary stuff currently, and we want to be able to do it here. Because we have the infrastructure here in terms of the hardware, but what we don't have at this point is we don't have the workforce. We don't have the workforce, and we need someone with that workforce with that skill set, to teach everybody. We need someone to teach everybody.
Are those classes or are those more hands-on experiences?
Through the manufacturing incubator, I think it's going to be a lot of training programs. It's going to be a ton of training programs about how to use these machines, how to maintenance these machines, and then my hope, because there's such a strong metal fabrication industry here in the Pacific Northwest, that we learn how to build and rebuild it.
Oh, you absolutely,
like
yes.
That's where it really gets exciting to me. And I don't want to build them, but I want them rebuilt.
Right,
so
for sure.
We got to figure out how to make sure that those people that are building them know that there's a market for that they won't be building these things to just sit in warehouses.
Hi, I'm Reed Fetters with Tacoma Rising, and I'm here with a new friend of mine, Umi Wagoner with ETC. Thank you for coming in and sitting down and chatting with me today.
I'm stoked to be here, honestly. Learned about you guys recently, and I love the talent that you've been able to capture. Honestly, some of those people aren't easy to get to sit down, so.
Honestly, it took a lot of bribes, and I had to sweet talk some people, a lot of blackmail. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's like, it was my favorite thing about Tacoma is that just the people here. There's so many talented people doing really creative things, and I know we talked a little bit about this, and I mention it probably on every podcast. But this season's all about getting influencers together, and these influencers are entrepreneurs. And we just want to talk about, we want to understand the why they do it, the message behind their kind of their brand, their story. But it comes down to the event that we want to do at the end of the year with 25 seniors with Tacoma Public Schools, about bringing them in and showing that, hey, you know what? It's hard, but it's okay if you fail. But if you just keep going, good things will happen. And I think people the group that we've had come on the podcast have been really incredible, and the talent has been great. And we've been so lucky that people have been responding because it's, a lot of people don't know who we are. They don't know who I am because I'm fairly new, and it takes a lot. And I'm like, I hope this is okay. And, but thank you. And I appreciate that. So thank you for coming on. And the symbol that ETC is for the community it's amazing to hear and watch and get to witness just all of it. And I know that we talk about entrepreneurs, but your background as a creative is different. And I guess my first question would be, when did you realize that as a creative you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Man, I'm not quite sure that I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew at the age of 15 and a half that I wanted to design clothing. And then at 16, I was like, that means I'll probably want a brand. And then I became, a student of other brands. And then it was just about being a brand owner. So I never really looked at it as a business owner I was like, I just want to own a brand, and I want to understand how to like nurture a brand.
That's interesting because that's I don't say it's backwards. It's a different approach.
It's a totally different approach to a business, yeah.
But it's like you had to learn business through the idea of how to keep that brand successful. Exactly. How do you make that brand work?
Yep.
And so what brands were you looking into?
The time, the brands that, so the biggest one from here, obviously Nike, right? Yeah. And realizing like that it wasn't super old. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, this isn't something that like this happened like just before me.
Right.
Like happening, like being a thing was like just, so that was like kind of like a good feeling. Like, okay, we might be on the right land. But then outside of that, it was like very much what I'm into. So like core streetwear, which was like Stussy, surf brand that like has found its own cult following. And then at the time, there's a lot of smaller streetwear brands and skate brands that were from the region as well. So then like Goods was a store that we cared about. But that's even a little later. So at the time, I think that, maybe like even Mark Echo was big to me at the time. Yep. Just like people who were heavy on the logo, 90s was big logo era, which is like kind of back, obviously we're back where we are now. And finding out and kind of hitting that rabbit hole about whatever logos were the ones that were jumping out to me at the time. So it's a bit of a mix. I want to say when I was and it all happens in a year. So about like from 15, I'm like in the mall looking at brands, and then at 16, all of a sudden now I'm like in sneaker boutiques looking at brands.
Interesting.
Yeah.
From that, what specifically inspired ETC?
So ETC was inspired because it was a store. So I think where I wanted to become a businessman, it's funny that we're taking this little trip down memory lane right now, is when I decided that I wanted a store, like a brick and mortar.
Yes.
Yep. Like when that part became an idea, then we were thinking about being in entrepreneurship. And then that's where the idea for ETC comes about, because the store originally is supposed to carry streetwear accessories only. We wanted to be an accessories only store. So, and like lifestyle products, which is what separates a streetwear brand from like any other independent brand, is that they make lifestyle products. They don't just make t-shirts. They make towels and slides and lighters and things that go into everyday life, right? Versus just like branded apparel. And
Etc. is actually the brand, right?
Etc. is actually the brand.
That's right.
And then ETC Tacoma is the store. So ETC was like, it was a literal thing, meaning like the extras. We literally wanted to carry just the extra things.
Gotcha. Yes.
Yep. We didn't want to carry apparel. Or we wanted to carry very little apparel. It's supposed to be second priority to a lighter from, at the time, our business plan was interesting. At the time, there's probably like a total of like 30 really strong brands that had accessories that were strong enough that we probably could have like survived as a store. But now there's probably 300 brands. So I just think about, man, that idea now probably could still just crush.
What does Etc. mean as a brand? Where did the name Etc.?
So it became a play. It's a play off of the idea of the store. So ETC was the name of the store because it was supposed to be the extra things, but it all played in because of wordplay. We're big on wordplay because of our love for hip hop. So the T being prominent was like, that was a part of how it led into Tacoma, right? But that was by osmosis. It was never meant to be an acronym. And then when you get, I think how we really got to the name of the brand being Etc. was the way that it looked when we started designing things. So then you're like, okay, the name of the store is ETC, and we're making the product to promote the store. That was the initial idea, right?
Yes.
This product is just promotional stuff. But we've always loved t-shirt graphics. And so then all of a sudden, you're off to the races.
Was there ever a moment that you didn't think it would work?
Several times. Several times in the mix of it, because we're changing paths. Originally, we're opening this accessory store. Nope. Now we're opening this multi-brand store that carries clothes. We're 2.5 years into this thing. Nope. Now we are not doing that. Now we are, for better or worse, a flagship.
Yeah.
And like just having to be like, just, because there was a conversation about whether or not we were going to double down on what we were doing or whether or not we were going to go with the flow.
Out of those several times, do you have a moment that was like, this is like a worst day? Like, was there ever that one like that stands out that you can talk about?
Well, yeah, for me personally, it would be leaving the space that we were originally in to be in the space that we're in now. That was like a wild moment for me. Yeah, like very uncomfortable, very unsettling. And just
it's a lot to move to pick up your brand.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole store and everything.
And the whole thing about our business is being a destination location.
Yes.
So if you move...
Yes. Oh my! I can't imagine you're around the corner, the address, and no one can find it because they don't know you moved. Yeah. Even though you're right there. Oh my gosh! I bet that was horrendous.
Stone's throw away. Yeah. Interesting enough. I think that we played it well is we rolled with the uncertainty. We were uncertain what was going to happen, so we just were transparent about the uncertainty. And then when we secured the new space and the keys, we were like, hey guys, like they were able to take the journey with us, and I think that's super important.
That is important.
Yeah.
And now, tough times are hard to get through. Good times are kind of hard to, at the moment, it's hard to experience and feel like they're really good. But do you have a time where you've just felt like, man, that was awesome. That success felt really good. Is there a moment where you feel like, a really high point?
This is so true, but it's every drop that we have a line. Any drop that there's a line, I don't care if it is 3 people or 33 people. A line is crazy to me. A line in Tacoma is crazy to me.
It is crazy.
It's crazy. Just because it's done in my lifetime, until we've done it, till then it wasn't done. So for me, it's surreal every single time.
When I found out, I learned about your store and your brand later after living here for a while.
Yep.
And I kept hearing about ETC, and I didn't know what it was. And I'm fairly new, and I kept hearing about a line and out the store. I was like, what do they do? And they're like, they're a clothing store. I was like, they're a clothing store that has a line out the door for what? And they do these drops. I go, wait, tell me about the drops. I had no idea. And as I was learning about it, I was like, that is so cool that you built such a strong brand that everyone, it wouldn't even probably matter what it is, but the fact that there's a drop, the buzz, and people just want to come and see.
Yeah.
That is something that's so special, and I love that. I think that talks so much about who you are and what you represent for Tacoma. Yeah. And that's the story really cool. It's so cool. So I can imagine every time it feels good, it's like
insane. Yeah.
Like that right there. Do you feel like there's a sense of responsibility that comes with that? Because you're an influencer.
I think the biggest thing that we've always, hoped and talk about is that there could be a thriving community of rare wear brands, independent companies, whatever genre they're putting themselves in. But our hope is for more. We've always wanted more, and specifically more like in our area, to be honest, which has happened a bit. Like some of the really, some of the cooler to us, vintage stuff that has opened on Broadway is definitely leans into the aesthetic that favors ours. But we would love to see more independent brands from here. That feels like the responsibility. But until then, that we do know that we just need to, bear the flag and carry it just with pride.
Do you feel that you've helped shape Tacoma's cultural identity based on what you guys have been doing over the last 11 years?
Downtown's cultural identity. Downtown Tacoma?
Yes.
Yes. Yep, 100%. The main thing for us in terms of was space. It was making the space accessible. What we realized early on in the brand was that we had the thing that everybody wanted, which just was space. Like a space to do a thing, space to throw an art show, space to do a pay and sip, space to host a brand thing, whatever, And so in the beginning, we opened our doors up to any and everything. And the thing that's so funny about it is that we never closed our doors to that. I think what happened is that people slowly began to say, well, what does DTC do? And then this thing is like, oh, they're a clothing brand, right? Because it was like, why is everybody down there? And then that became the main thing. Then it wasn't so much about it being like this creative space. It was about the fact that now we're a brand. It was very interesting how that changed, but it's so true to how the brand grew. The brand was initially just about supporting creatives who need space. And then maybe because we gave that support so effortlessly, it was poured back into us as a brand, but it's an interesting thing.
And I think walking into the store, you feel that. When I walk into the store, I feel that. And when you talk about it would be great to have more brands and more people coming into the space, I think that you're trailblazing what could happen in Tacoma.
Agreed.
With this. And that's, to me, I mean, I knew the answer to the question I was asking, but I kind of wanted to get out there and make the connection there. But I think
I get you.
I think it's incredible. And with doing that, I feel like you've really built a loyal community. And you have a massive following on social media and just a big presence, which I think is really, it's incredible because of what you stand for and what you're representing for Tacoma. And I think that is incredible. But how did that come? Did that take off like a rocket? Or was it brick by brick?
It's brick by brick for sure. There's a lot of things. And there was like a lot of actionable moments and people involved along the way. You know what I mean? Jason Gamboa and Dion Thomas are two like super pivotal names in the fact that they also are business owners and creatives in Tacoma that understood what we were doing and for better or less, we're like, yep, we're getting behind this. Like, you guys are dead serious. And for one of them, he had seen us from a mustard seed. So he was like, oh, you guys still have a brand after all these years? Like, you guys started in high school together and 10 years later, almost exactly 10 years later, you guys are opening a store. Like, so I always preach the village thing. Always. But I think that that was a huge part of how we get to where we are, is some of those early flash. Even JD, I don't know if you know who JD Oquist is.
Oh, I know JD. Right? Absolutely.
He owned a store. He's a very fashionable guy, and he owned a store with his good friend for a while, and they carried us first, right? So like, that's why we know more stores is a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got here because of stores, right?
Yes.
So we're certain that it's a good idea.
I think more stores downtown especially.
It's a great idea.
It really is. And you mentioned about a village.
Yeah.
And that cycle of life, the circle of life. But I thought it was really interesting when we went into the store today. You have a young guy working in the store who is early 20s.
Yep.
And we got a chance to talk to him a little bit, and he said he was in high school when he started working with you guys as an intern. And that is part of the story that we're trying to talk about this whole season, is that we want to showcase the future talent in the workforce, and we want to connect them with business owners here and keep that talent local. What does it mean to you to be able to come in and say, we've got an employee that works with us that's been here since high school. He's still with us, and we're grooming him to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. No, we're I mean, that's the magic, but that's not one. I think one thing that we're bumping into, not even bumping into, just realizing, is that we've been extremely blessed to have done that twice with Daz originally, and now be doing that with Jay Wash, whom you're speaking about. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm always taking every opportunity to go speak at a school, to do something like this, or to speak more one-on-one with the kid, pardon me, if they have questions. And because I've been in this industry so long, I know that the kid that I'm looking for, they always find us. And so the women that we've had in the shop that I've gone on to do incredible things and still are. And there's other young men that have been in the shop that have right out of high school, were around us in those couple of the first years of community college, and then decided like, based like I'm around the community that I need to be around, and we're able to find their pathways. Like, we've been so blessed in that regard. So our goal is to continue just to keep talking to the kids, and the kids are getting a little more and more difficult to chat with because they're a little less open, and a little less certain about what they think they want to do, and feel maybe on the spot when we ask them that. So I'm just waiting for those kids to find us still.
What advice do you give those young folks that are creative and want to know what's that next step? Like, where do I go from here?
Man, I always tell the kids that they want to start early, because you get the most help when you're young.
Yeah.
That's like, we just, off camera, we were talking about how your son has a podcast and he's already an influencer.
And
he can get ETC box and ASAP, because there's nothing more inspiring than watching someone young get to it. Yeah. Like, there's just like nothing. It puts the battery in the back of 60-year-olds, right? They're like, this sweet young man was selling it. And now they're right. So like, there's just nothing that does that. And so when you're young, if you have an idea, like, you need to tell people. You need to tell people. And I'm realizing that a big fear for the youth is maybe someone saying that they don't understand how they're going to achieve their dream or whatever. But you just need to be open to starting early. And I would also say, be open to questions. Yeah. I think that the youth let questions kill a lot of the ideas, when really they just need to be writing the questions down so that they can answer them. I think that they just get overwhelmed with saying like, oh, I don't have all the answers right now, because they are feeling like people expect them to have all the answers. But I don't think that people are expecting you to have all the answers. They just want to know, if someone who cares about you just wants to know how deeply you're thinking about something. Yeah. Have you looked at it from this viewpoint and that sort of thing? Yeah.
Absolutely. And speaking of, seeing things from the outside, from a different vantage point, is there a different vantage point that ETC has for the future? Is there a shift? What does ETC look like in 2030, 2035?
2035, ETC very much is doing exactly what you're talking about. We're talking about catching the kid who is super stylish and cares just over them, just cares too much about it in high school, and say, how are you interested in this? Are you interested in this from a stylist standpoint? Are you interested in this from a manufacturing standpoint? Are you interested in this from a design standpoint? And, catch them early. And hopefully in 2035 have all kinds of programming, whether it be state funded, federal funded out of our own back pockets, or Tacoma Philanthropy, to be able to nurture those talents. I just like, that would 100% be what we're hoping to do.
It's something I love it. The idea is, as we get older and we do more and more and we grow, it's like, it's wanting to kind of mentor and bring, and like, what can we do to kind of hand some of our knowledge down or get more people excited in the things that we're doing? And the older I get, the more I want to do that, And maybe it's because I have a 6-year-old, I don't know, but it's important, and I love the education piece behind it. What about you though? What's beyond ETC? What are you working on personally? Do you have some other brands or other things that you're working on?
Currently, my other love and joy is I'm just been into fashion, like, and caring about style my whole life. So streetwear has been the thing that felt the most organic and the most accessible. But luxury and like high-end garment making has always been something that I like for 2 reasons. From a fiscal standpoint and just like becoming an entrepreneur and thinking about like how dollars work, there's like no greater markup. And so obviously that is cool. But from a quality standpoint, there is just something that I've always enjoyed and loved. And then it's a totally different version of storytelling. It's like what we do with our brand and et cetera is we are really wanting to meet people where they're at and that sort of thing. With Identified Objects, which is the name of my other company, the goal is to, it's a thing that someone would strive for. You know, like they would be like, oh man, and I don't know why. Everyone would have their own reason why they would want to buy a $700 pair of denim. When I was 15 years old, I couldn't even tell you right now what that reason was, but I felt a connection to it. I felt a connection to the product, if that's as wild as that is to say. And the way that it made me feel once you put it on, like not just looking at it, I enjoy looking at it, but putting on luxury brands at a very young age, like really did something for me. Like, it still does, and making it is like exciting. So that's what my thing is now. And there's a lot of fun ways that I've learned through a ton of failure about how to make it locally. So that's the goal. Like, right now my manufacturing is in Georgetown, Seattle, and all my denim is American and is made in Georgia. And I'll hold true to made in America as long as humanly possible. That's a big part of what I want to do, and especially in the luxury space. But bringing manufacturing to Tacoma would be so exciting. That would be really cool. Like, how my comparison to it is like the same way that there's an atelier in France that hand paints luxury trunks for Hermes and Louis Vuitton. I would love for there to be a young man, young woman who takes the same amount of pride in, like, you know, cutting denim, you know, grown and sourced in America and sewn in Tacoma. Last
question. You want to bring in more manufacturing, like you said. What would be your pitch? Like, how would you sell Tacoma in this? Because this is recorded and this could go viral. You don't know.
You never
know. A year from now, when we have all this manufacturing, we're gonna be joking around saying, "Man, it was that podcast. It was that's what did it." But how? Like, I mean, I don't think I could. Like, with the name Tacoma Rising, like, obviously we want to bring more stuff here. We want to do stuff here. And I love the other, like, there's so many others that want to do the same thing.
For sure.
With that in mind, how do we sell it? How do we sell Tacoma to the fashion manufacturing?
So I think that the main thing here is, and this is like, it's a crazy thing to say, because again, you have to be kind of willing to do what Jason and Dion were willing to do with us from the get-go, which is we need to exalt a brand. The only way that you get anybody to do anything is to have success, right? So like Microsoft had the success that would breed all the other successes behind it, right? So what we need that success, and we need Tacoma or Washington or the greater thing to be like, yeah, you know what? We like this brand enough. We like this ethos enough. We like these guys enough, whatever it is, to push it up, right? Because the moment that Tacoma makes us filson to the world, then the rush begins. Because they go, there's more of these here, and they start to throw money in the area, and then Reed, you understand how to do the thing, and now you've got the network, and like, it all kind of flows.
Yeah.
But success. Yeah.
I like that. That's really good. And I support bringing manufacturing to Tacoma for sure.
Yeah.
Umi, thank you so much for joining me today and giving us a tour of your space, ETC. This was incredible. I've learned so much about what you're doing, and I support all of the things that you're doing. I think it's incredible, and I really hope that we bring more businesses or get more businesses started just like what you're doing. And I'm excited to work with you on the event in November with TPS Schools. So thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I love that that your podcasts are going to land in something like kind of tangible, like something just like that's in real life. Yeah,
that's like, the hope. I can't promise you anything.
Well, I'm just mean like, you know what I mean?
No, I do.
The fact that that's even the part of the plan,
yeah,
right? From a it's cool.
Yeah.
So grateful to be part of it.